Recorded live in Morgantown, West by God, Virginia, and across the world, with your hosts, Kevin Jones, John Flowers, and our lovely co-host, Ashley. This is the Final Forecast Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Final Forecast with me, your host, Jay Flo. Got my guy, Kevin Jones, with me. Lovely co-host Ash is out, but it's not her fault this time. For some reason, we are doing a 9 a.m. interview with a very important special guest. Super producer Dave is here.
Hello.
Shout out to him for setting this up. I mean, it probably wouldn't have happened without him, you know what I mean? Because you think you know some people and then they just ignore you and they get in hot places.
No, what it is, John, is that I'm nice enough and work with the people that put the schedules together. You just go in and go, oh, I need to do an interview.
Yeah.
We're off to a great start.
Well, special guest, new head basketball coach at WVU, Josh Eilert. Thank God, I'm a country boy.
How you doing, gentlemen?
What's going on?
All right. How you doing? How you been?
I'm doing good. I'm KJ. I just saw him sipping some wine.
Oh no, this is just grape juice.
Oh, is that what that is?
This is just grape juice.
So we got two ends of the spectrum here. We got some wine at the end of the night, and we got Jay Flo's just waking up here, probably having some coffee over at Edward Jones.
I've been up since 6 a.m., baby. I'm a working man now, you know what I mean?
No, you got kids. That's the deal.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too. You're interrupting my working day at just 9 a.m. Why 9 a.m., Josh? Is that you, or is that just the media?
That's the best time of the day.
I guess
I mean, why 8 o'clock at night when you can spend time with your family? You know the deal.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
On an average day, what time do you wake up? And is it any different than when you were assistant coach?
No, I mean I stay pretty pretty consistent with what my schedule has been. 6:30, 7 o'clock, I'm up and at 'em and seeing the kids off. I probably don't. These kids these days, they have to get on the bus by 6:15, 6:20.
Sheesh.
So my two older ones, what I call my OG kids, they're out a lot of times before I go to bed, and then maybe I can put Teddy on the bus at 8:10 if I have a slow day that morning.
Teddy, that's my guy. Josh always gets me in trouble for when he was an assistant. He used to always, for some reason, somehow just found ways to go to the park whenever my wife was there. And my wife always asked me, like, why don't you go to the park? Josh goes with his family. Why don't you go? Like, I gotta work. I don't know how Josh finds the time.
I sneak over there at Krebs Park. It's only a minute away.
Yeah.
Have lunch with the family every once in a while. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a good balance, man. You gotta learn to balance it. It ain't gonna work if you don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on now, just the work-life balance, you know what I mean?
Well, I know you get dinner cooked for you every night. I see that on Instagram.
She loves
I can't believe she's still cooking for you.
She
After
just
all.
Appreciate it.
she finds stuff on TikTok and just experiments with me. Like, it's good sometimes. It's hit or miss, you know.
Well, I haven't seen Violet. She hasn't complained yet, so.
She's not allowed to. Not to. But Josh, how's it feel now to be in the so-called
It
hot
feels
seat?
good. I mean, it's settling in. It was sometimes there for a while. It was hard to really wrap my head around. I'd wake up every morning. It's like, damn, I'm the head coach of the Mountaineers. I had to kind of shake it off and realize this happened fast.
Yeah.
This happened really fast. And I was on a podcast yesterday, and I hate the way it went down. It's not the way we all expected a Hall of Fame coach to end his career and step away. But man, it's been an absolutely incredible opportunity for me, and I'm super grateful for the opportunity and excited for the opportunity, and I'm ready to carry that torch and do right by Mountaineer Nation.
Right. So when did your name get put in in the ring for the job? Did you always want? I mean, I guess that's a stupid question. Of course, you would want a head coaching job at some point, but were you even thinking about being a head coach, or were you just were you thinking about trying to go somewhere else once the whole thing went down with Hugs, or like how did that go about?
Well, I mean, I didn't. It happened so fast. You know, I was on the road recruiting when everything went down with Coach Huggins in Pittsburgh. So, you know, it happened so fast. And obviously, from an assistant coaching perspective, we were all like, the best thing for us to do is get back to Morgantown. So, you know, I was in Louisville, Kentucky. I hustled back, and, you know, things were happening. Ren was meeting with the team. He was meeting with the staff. Me and DeMar Johnson didn't even make it back in time, so they had to Zoom us in to kind of meet with us. So, you know, sure, you know, the way I've always looked at my career, do the best job you possibly can at the job you have. So I was trying to be the best possible assistant coach at the time. You know, I wasn't thinking about being a head coach. You know, it's always been my aspiration, certainly, but I was trying to do the best possible job at what I had. And bring as much value to the table and to the program, to Coach Huggins and to the program at West Virginia men's basketball. So it happened fast. You know, I wouldn't say I threw my name in the hat. I think, you know, immediately after those meetings occurred, Ren came to me and looked at me and said, "Hey, can you help me? And I need somebody to, you know, take charge over there and kind of hold everything together, because we're having a national search to figure out who our next head coach will be." And at that point, I'm thinking, certainly I'd love to be involved in the conversation, but, you know, I have my boss saying, hold this thing together. I don't have any other options. I had 8-9 days left in my contract. I said, okay, I'm going to do the best possible job that, you know, I've been given. He said, try to hold it together. I'm going to hold it together. And through that whole week, you know, I continued to have conversations with Ren, and he was very forthright and honest about the situation. And 2 or 3 days into the process, you know, I'm having a conversation with Ren, you know, hey, can I have those conversations and put my name in the mix, because I want to be able to have my voice and heard, you know, throughout this process. And he said, absolutely. You know, before this is said and done, I'm going to sit you down and you'll have your chance to, put your name in the hat and sell yourself as the leader of this program.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Whose podcast did you do before us? That's all I want to know. That's all I heard.
I've done a lot of them, John.
I think that's one of the big things you and the program have received a lot of praise for, especially on social media, is even though the graphic had a giant interim logo behind it when you were announced, that this is not a team that's approaching it like it's an interim team, that this is like the coaching staff, the coach that's going to take this program forward. And I think that's just one thing that fans have really taken note of everything that's gone on.
And yeah, I don't look at it as an interim tag. Yeah, it motivates me, but I don't look at it as an interim tag. I look at it as I'm the head coach for a 10-month period. Now, there's 3 months have passed, so I'm a head coach for 7 more months. And what I do with that, I can't control all the outside noise. I have an opportunity to move this program forward. And if it's not me at the end of the day, it's not me. But I'm actually super grateful for the opportunity to keep the ship afloat and leave this program better than when I found it. And there was a lot of obstacles and a lot of things that I had to go through to get the program where it is right now to more stable waters, so to speak. But you mentioned the interim tag. I mean, I put in my office, and if you guys been in my office yet, KJ, you haven't, but a big picture of the press conference. And in the background of me speaking at the press conference is a huge TV screen with interim on it. So I stare at that every day. You know, it's not lost on me that I still have to prove myself every day. And the staff that we put together, we have to prove that we've earned the job. So, and I use it in recruiting all the time. I say, hey, sense of urgency. We have a sense of urgency like no other staff across the country. There's staffs out there with 3, 4, 5-year contracts. We're here. We have 7 months. We have 7 months to figure this out, to put ourselves in a position to hold this job long term, but also leave this program better than where we found it.
Do you feel the pressure?
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't feel the pressure, you're probably doing something wrong. There's certainly, I try to control it, but I certainly feel the pressure. I mean, there's 1.8 million people that live and die by mountaineer sports.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel the pressure to do what's best for the program and take it to a new level that I don't know. We've had a lot of success here. You guys have both been a part of that success, and you know how far we can take it and what it's capable of. It's a sleeping giant, and yeah, we're navigating a lot of changes, whether it be NIL, whether it be the transfer portal, whether it be conference realignment and the changes in the conference. So, I'm not stuck in the past. I'm just trying to move forward and change and adapt. And you guys have been in that weight room how many times? It's adapt or perish.
Yeah.
It's the first thing you see every time you walk in the weight room. Adapt or perish. And we got to adapt and figure out how we move forward.
So, I got to, go ahead, John. You was going to say something?
Nah, that adapt or perish is on and off the court, right? Like just culture-wise, dealing with the kids that you're recruiting and stuff like that. That's what you mean, like coaching style and everything, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you gotta move along, and there's certain changes you have to figure out and adjust to, and figure out, if things aren't working, you got to adjust. You got to figure that out.
There's rumors that there's no more treadmill
There hasn't been.
yet. Okay.
There hasn't.
And
Doesn't mean-
not only that, hour and a half practices. Is that true too?
We haven't even started official practice. It's
Hey,
preseason.
listen. This is just a don't blame the messenger, man. This is just the.
There's a thing called compliance. You get 4 hours on the floor per week. You guys probably don't remember this, but back in your day, we got about 2 weeks of full-time practice before we had our first competition.
Right.
Now it's totally different. You get 30 days of practice in the 40 days prior to your first competition. So you can structure it however you want. But that's when on the 25th we can start practice where we can go 3 hours.
Okay.
Now it's pretty much structured to it's 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off until you get to that first competition. But the rules have changed, and I don't know if you guys stayed up to date with the rules, but that's kind of how it's structured now.
So you didn't answer the question now. Are you gonna practice 3 hours or not? You keeping that close to the vest?
It depends on what I need.
All right, I got you.
I got to assess the situation. If I'm behind, I'm going to certainly use 3 hours.
I got you.
Syracuse.
That's
Whether it be in the
Syracuse
film
style.
room or whether it be individual development that I might hold off 30 minutes of practice and shorten it up a little bit and give my assistant coaches, where they have great assistant coaches and they're very good at what they do, hold off some of that time to where they can have individual time with their guys throughout the day.
Yeah, I don't know if you could do that with these players now. You got a few spoiled ones on the team. That's how.
That's different with you guys used to fight for your next meal.
Yeah.
For real.
Now they'll walk right by it.
That's crazy. That
And
was.
you want to know what's crazy? I got reprimanded for eating some food in there, and the purpose. It's been
That nobody else ate.
Well,
Josh,
John, let's tell the whole story, which I didn't reprimand you.
no, you didn't. No, Josh didn't. It wasn't Josh's.
Are we going to name names? I mean, who reprimanded you?
It was Ronnie. I got the message from Ronnie Everhart. Ronnie Everhart brought the.
He was the enforcer. Apparently, John went in. The guys weren't even had a chance to go eat yet, and John ate all the shrimp. He took all the shrimp.
That's the
Come on,
story.
bro.
KJ, I took all the shrimp. Like,
I don't know.
Does that even sound right?
I don't.
This is
Got a
ridiculous.
family to feed.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. Like,
I'm not sure if Violet got any of those shrimp.
somehow, a story came out that I took all the shrimp. It's been a rough couple of years for the Final Forecast.
We gotta keep y'all honest. We love you. We love y'all. We gotta keep y'all honest.
But shout out to Josh.
I've never seen KJ take all the shrimp.
I try to stay. That's my thing. Is I try to stay away. Like if I'm off, like, hey, kid, it is. The guys didn't eat whatever. They got some left over. I'm like, all right, cool. But I ain't just gonna walk in there and just like I own the place like some people. I know.
I will say the funniest thing I saw in the summer was Jonathan Holton was coming out and was like, Dave, get a picture. And in his hand is like 2 clear bags full of like chips and Gatorades. And he was just like, yeah, and just running away.
John Holden.
That was crazy.
But Hugs always, until we pissed him off, he was always he still is. I mean, always a fan of the guys keeping the family together. And Josh,
Right.
also, like when we were going through that after our interview with what's his name?
JB.
Yeah, Jalen Bridges.
You
We
don't
kinda-
know his name now.
I lost
You
the train
forgot
of
his
thought.
name.
JB. Yeah.
Who is the mediator?
You were
Josh.
definitely the mediator. You reached out to
mediator.
both parties, so I appreciate that definitely.
Josh is like, what the hell is going on? Don't fall apart now. He just Josh kept everybody together, and that just
Well.
goes to speak to, you've been in Morgantown for, what, 14, 15 years now?
Got here in June of 07, so it's been a full 16. We're going on 17.
Crazy, dang.
Same amount of time as we've been here. I mean, and like us, it's been a home to you. You made it your home, and I know it was kind of freaking you out when the news came from about the coaching change that you may have to leave and you might not have your job anymore. So that's just added pressure. How do you deal with that type of pressure as far as?
I think the hardest thing through that point was probably I always had confidence in myself wherever life takes me, but the hardest thing was probably looking my kids in the eye, looking my wife in the eye, and that stability that you thought you had and you thrived on that stability, and your kids thrived on that stability, and that foundation has started to crumble a little bit. And trying to, as a father and a husband and the man of my house, trying to, calm the waters there to say, hey, things are going to be fine. We're going to be just fine. No matter where we land, whether it be here or somewhere else, we'll figure this out. And that was my biggest concern during that process. And I have two things in my life. I have my family at home, and I have my family here and in my job and my work here at West Virginia basketball. So first and foremost, during that time, I had 8-9 days in my contract. I was certainly going to keep coming to work and try to do whatever I can to calm the waters here, but I also had a big responsibility to my family and figuring that out as well. So, yeah, and like I said earlier, it happened so fast that you just do what you can to control what you can control.
Yeah, go ahead, Casey. You got something?
Oh no, what were you gonna say?
I mean, I was basically the first call you made. You was like, hey, when you got the job, you was like, hey, you want to be an assistant? But I was like, nah, because I don't have the patience for these new kids. You know what I mean? They prima donnas. I don't have the patience for that. The fans sometimes, they get on you. I mean, you were at the football game this weekend versus Duquesne, and Neil Brown got some chants. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, I'm glad those ended fast. I mean, you don't want to hear that. That's,
Yeah,
what were the chants?
You talked about
I wasn't there to experience. What were the chants?
F.
I don't even want to repeat it. I mean, the good thing, we got a nice play and a first down. We moved on, and things started turning in the right direction. But
Yeah, people could.
It could go down quick.
So I mean, that's why. Personally,
now, why would I call you for? I mean, at that point, you're almost finishing your test for your investment test, and you're about to do big things. And
pass all the tests, and you still won't let me invest your money. It's crazy. It's wild.
No, I tried. I gave you a deal, but you haven't pulled through on it.
Yeah, I've been busy. I got to get in the office. You've been busy. That's why we're having an interview at 9 a.m.
I try to educate him on expense ratios and front loads and sales loads. I wanted to pick my own investments and go against his, and whoever won can, he can have some of my business. But
And you didn't take him up on that? You was scared?
Nah, I definitely took him up on it.
Okay.
I just haven't.
he's dragging his feet
it's a
because he knows.
Well, we know historically, September and October are like the worst months for the market. So I'm just waiting for that to.
Well,
waiting for
keep time in the market.
So I had a question. So because I know everything was hectic, especially after it went down. So it kind of made it hard for recruiting because nobody really knew what the situation was. So like, what was the hardest thing to do? Was the hardest thing to recruit or to keep the guys that you already had at school? Because for me, if I'm a guy that's like thinking about going to WVU and I see all the changes and I see you that, like, once Coach Hugs was there, Hall of Fame coach and everything, and now it's you there. Like, no disrespect to you or your coaching, but I don't know you like that. So it's like, why should I come to your school? Like, what was your pitch to guys on like the stability of the program?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, to answer your question, the hardest thing was probably the leverage that the players got. And the players got so much leverage in the process that they had 30 days to transfer and be immediately eligible. And so trying to figure out who you bring in and whether it makes sense to bring them in and disrupt the whole flow of what you got going with those guys that are sticking around with you. So you had to be very sensitive and mindful of that, because they had all that time to make that decision. So you didn't want to push too hard on bringing people in when they could 100%, another guy could hit the portal just because of who you brought in during that time period. So we took it slow and easy. First and foremost, we tried to recruit the guys that we had on our roster, and that was our priority. But then once we started seeing some a solid base there, then we started going outside and trying to put one piece at a time into the fold. And it was hard because in the meantime, we're trying to run practice and do everything else. And sometimes we were out there with 5 or 6 guys. And guys are looking around like, whoa, man, our roster is depleted. And Kerr had left to go to Estonia, and he had every intention to play for his national team. And Jesse was overseas and then the Netherlands playing for his national team. And all they were seeing was what they were seeing on social media. They didn't see what was happening every day inside the program, and so they were getting a little uneasy, and we were trying to manage all that at the same time.
So you went over there. Boss move.
Yeah,
that's tough. I like that. I like that.
I mean, that was just as much for me as it was for Jesse, and we recruited him, and it was a short recruitment, but we were supposed to go to Italy with our team during that first 10 days of August. That was supposed to be our foreign trip dates this summer. And I pulled the plug on that and pushed that back a year just because we didn't know where we'd be throughout the summer in terms of recruiting and finishing out our roster. So I said, I got the idea with the staff. I said, hey, we're going to have some time here. Let's go visit our own guys. And so I jumped on a plane, and I had every intention of going and seeing Kerr, but his plans changed, and that Estonia and Latvia weren't far apart, and I was going to do that. But I spent the day with Jesse and his national team, and they welcomed me with open arms, and I really enjoyed the 36 hours I was with them, and it was a short time, but it was awesome. It was awesome to see him and his teammates, competing and representing, his country.
So you was just doing whatever it took to. I mean, that just goes to show you was doing whatever it took to, salvage this season. And I've been there, like 4th of July. You're making calls with guys. You're going to go see them in the middle of barbecues, trying to get people to stay. What do you think the biggest loss as far as a transfer was?
I mean, Trey's very talented. And he can bring a lot to the table. You get in Trey, and you're really physical with Trey. I mean, he struggled, and he lost his aggressiveness. I wouldn't say we replaced Trey, but a Cook is at the 4 position can do so much that Trey couldn't do. Now, there's some things that Trey could do that a Cook couldn't, but I really think we shored that up very well. Backup point guard wise, that was a huge loss because, not having Joe Toussaint, and we had every intention of Joe and Kerr both playing side by side at times and then backing each other up, and both of them really deserved starting minutes. So that was a hard one to negotiate, having 2 alpha point guards, rightfully so, fighting for the same minutes. So not having a backup point guard, that's where I'm struggling right now. We have Jeremiah Bembry, but he's got a long ways to go just because, he's never played one bounce of college basketball. And you guys know how tough that is, walking in and trying to be relied upon as a freshman, and really you haven't got there.
I was good, but
Yeah, of course. I mean, you won a couple games by flinging that thing up there for us.
Flinging that thing up there is
But
But
nah,
I mean, not having a backup point guard, it's got a lot of experience. That's gonna hurt. But we're looking at several different options there that we can shore that up. But yeah, and also Jesse Edwards. I mean, when we brought Jesse in, I think it scared off some of those bigs because Jesse is so dominant and he is an alpha male at the center position. So, Jimmy immediately saw it and he realized that he's probably not the starting five here anymore, and he's fighting for backup minutes. Jimmy bailed before all this went down, and put himself in a position where he can, better himself at Mississippi State, and everybody understood that. But not having a backup big when James and Mo left, I mean, I really thought Mo, I could see him, really thriving in what my vision was. So not having Mo, that one kind of hurt, and I had a really good relationship with him. So to answer your question, that backup point guard and that backup big between Joe and Mo Wagee was probably the hardest ones that we had to navigate.
and I mean, with Mo, people would just, no amount of money would have. It wasn't about the money, was it? It was just, I don't know. I mean, I know people were just throwing him money, like, yeah, stay.
I mean, it's not always. I mean, grass is always not always greener on the other side. He's got to start over once again. He's got to, build his rapport with that coaching staff. He's got to build that rapport with his teammates, and he's got to figure that out on his end. And I wish all those guys nothing but the best. I never hold a grudge when guys leave. That's not my personality. I want all those guys to succeed. I mean, if we don't, we're not doing this job right. If it's not here, it's not here. Of course, when Joe Toussaint and Jalen Bridges and they all come to Morgantown, it's going to be a little more to those games. But otherwise, I want those guys to succeed.
You talk about your vision for the team. What is that? What is I mean, I don't know how much you want to expand on your playing style or how you want to go about the games or what you're looking for when you're recruiting, but what is your vision for this year's team?
I want to play way faster offensively, and I think our spacing had something to be said in the past, and I want to do a lot more pick and roll action. I mean, between Kerr and Jesse, those two are going to be a special combination in a pick and roll. And there's a lot of actions. And I said it earlier, we want to play fast, so we're drilling everything. Let's play fast, quick decisions. But I don't lose the fact of where we got here. We got here hanging our hat on our defense, and Coach Huggins was a mastermind of defense and making sure you guys, understood that that's how we're going to win games if shots don't fall. So I'm trying to carry that torch defensively. I don't know if I ever get to the point where I'm as good a coach defensively as Huggs ever was, because he can motivate like no other. But I want to carry on a lot of his principles and try to take a lot of things away and really dig into the teams scouting wise and whatnot to try to take everything away that they're trying to do.
Up the passing lanes, denying, all that stuff still in effect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get to a point where we're so far up the line that we're getting back cut all the time. You guys were in line, up the line. I'm more like, don't take away your vision in line. I want you to have an arm in line so you can run through balls. But once you start losing vision, that's where it gets really hard, and you're relying so much on help side.
So we're not so much up the line this year.
Yeah, we're more
like
in
level.
line.
Like level.
Yeah.
So I mean, we was up the line because we had supreme shot blockers in myself. I mean, I can only speak for the Final Four team. But myself, Sags, shot blocker. Will you get back to press Virginia?
Not this year. I mean, we certainly don't have the personalities and the personnel to do that this year. So I mean, as well as I do, you got to be who you are. Right. And you got to maximize who you are, and we don't have guys that can pick up full court and us be successful. So you got to coach to your personnel. I mean, there's certainly if in the recruiting, if it's a long-term deal and we get the right guys in here, I would take a look at that. and take a look at pressing again. But it's got to make sense.
I feel like Press Virginia was a moment in time. I feel like the moment is kind of over now for Press Virginia. Not saying that you can't get back to that, but to capture, like, to have a JC and a Dax, like, that's two different, you know what I mean? Besides the other guys who started, you had
Tariq.
Yeah, Tariq, Tavon, John. You know what I mean? Like, you don't
talk about Jonathan Holton on the ball. Like, he was crazy.
Jonathan Holton, Nate Adrian on the ball. Like, you don't just come by those guys like all the time. So I don't know. I'm not saying you can't get back to that, but I think it was just a moment in time. Like, I think.
Yeah, Sagabal and nothing. I mean, we still show that video all the time. Just all his black blocks. I mean, whether we're, in a recruiting meeting, sitting down in the conference room, talking about different. There's guys that can't do that. They don't come very often. He had some of the most superior timing and shot block timing that I've ever seen.
That's crazy. Almost.
And guys were how much confidence did their guards have of getting up in people when they knew if they got beat they had sags behind them.
Ultimate eraser. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Dang.
And we got some guys that can help protect the rim this year. Jesse can protect the rim. Cook can protect the rim. But the biggest problem is the guards in terms of can they pick up full court and really put that pressure on.
What's your coaching style? I'm interested to know, like, are you a yeller? Are you because you more laid back, you know what I mean? Like, you'll speak your mind when it's time to, but you're a little bit more laid back. So I'm curious, what's your coaching style?
Well, I mean, I gotta be who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, if this is gonna work, I gotta coach to my personality. I am laid back, but I have a redheaded mother, so.
What?
Yeah, you have a little bit more of a temper, right? So it comes out of me every once in a while, and I can flip the switch pretty quick, but it takes a lot to get me there.
So who's designated as that on your coaching staff? Like, I know for us we had.
Who's the hammer?
Yeah, who? I mean, you still got. Yeah, who's the hammer? Who do you got?
Well, apparently Ronnie is the one that, Ronnie's in a different role right there. He's the hammer to make sure the shrimp don't leave the building. No, we're figuring each other out. I mean, we're in a big, teaching mode right now, trying to figure out, let those guys know the expectations of what we expect every day. So we'll turn it up as we, as you grind on them every day and they start missing out on the things that you've coached them 2 or 3 times before. That's when things like turn up. It's like you say these things over and over and over. It's like, how many times are I going to tell you? Yeah. And that we've done that with John over the years, and he finally gets it. It took him a while, but
he's still doing that with John. He's still doing it.
But Hugs we didn't see. When Hugs first got here, we didn't see the real Hugs until a Tennessee game, the first tournament. New Jersey, yep.
I was there. Me and Truck was in the locker room after that game.
That was the first time I was like, oh shit, this is who we're dealing with for the next 4 years.
God, don't worry, I got my guys coming in next year. Kick you guys' ass.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I mean, I think.
I forget that KJ wasn't here the first year.
Me and Truck had came to that game where y'all lost against Tennessee, and we came at the after the game speech. Woo! We looked at each other like, man, that's gonna be us next year.
He told us that he couldn't wait to get us out of there and get KJ and Truck there. Basically, what he said.
Did he lie?
Did he lie? We used it as, us back in my day, we used it as reinforcement, we use negative reinforcement to be better, you know what I mean? So everyone had the mentality like, fuck you, Hugs, like, we're not going for that. Like, I'm gonna prove you wrong.
I think what it did was bring you guys together.
Yeah.
It brought you guys together. As soon as the coaching staff left the locker room, you're like, you bonded. You're like, man.
What it did was make them hate us. They hated us when we came in. They couldn't wait. Like, they couldn't wait to beat us middle. They couldn't wait to get offensive rebound, straight line drop. They couldn't wait.
And then truck shows up, and then now he's yelling if when you see 2-5, yell
Yo,
help.
because he's getting beat.
But
So I
I
mean,
don't
as
know.
soon as truck got in there, these guys were legends.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know if you could coach the same
Speaking
way. You
about
know.
the treadmill, KJ, did you ever get on that thing?
Yeah, of course. My freshman year was the most I got on it, just because I was learning everything. That was my whole thing. Is like we already did so much. I didn't want to have to do extra like punishment. I was just like, all right, you told me to do this, I'm gonna do this. Like I'm not trying to do anything.
And then you got to get right back in the drill.
And then you
That's
gotta
the
get
hardest.
right. I tell people this all the time. They don't believe me. I'm like, yo, and the thing is running, so you gotta catch it while the treadmill's going. It's no joke.
I think we talked about that on the last episode. Like it was like military training, so it built like your mental toughness more than anything. You know what I mean? So in the fourth quarter, this is nothing. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
we're used to practicing 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day, and the fourth quarter the games come easy. So how do you adapt to that?
We are embellishing this. We never went for 4 hours.
Excuse me.
I don't know. We went some three and a half. I know that
We
for
sh-
sure. We went three and
We
a half.
went
dog.
an hour before, then started over. So I know we've been 4 hours for sure. For sure.
But yeah, but you can't coach like John. Like you can't coach like that no more, can you? Like
It's
a whole
times
different
have
game.
changed.
Yeah.
You got to figure out. These guys have too much leverage. They can bail too quick. There's like we talked about NIL earlier. I mean, guys are walking by meals and they get everything they want.
I think it started with Truck because what was it, y'all last like practice, KJ? He just walked out. It just
Our last practice. I don't know if Josh was there. So Hugs wasn't
was
there.
there.
Oh, you was there when me and Chuck stopped running because Coach Harrison was running the practice and Hugs
Yeah.
wasn't
Part of
there.
that, too.
And he was on one that day and we just got tired of it. We looked Coach Hugs was so mad at me. Like when he came,
I was like, oh my god, we got our 2 leaders walking out.
yo, he was so mad. I don't know, just that day just kind of.
I know Truck's personality, but I never would have saw it out of Kevin Jones. If Kevin Jones is walking out, we have a big problem.
Bro,
didn't
but
even know
everybody was mad at me. Everybody expected that from Truck. Nobody was mad at Truck. Everybody was mad at me.
Kevin Jones is following Truck out of the building.
Hold on, he showed it on film.
Huh?
You showed it on film, like the practice,
Who?
like y'all walking out of practice.
No. We didn't. So we didn't walk out. We stopped running
That's not
at one
right.
point because Coach Harrison was making. This was right before we was about to play Gonzaga in the NCAA tournament. So Coach Harrison was on one like that day. I'm like, bro, like you wilding right now. So we just stopped running. Well, I eventually went back and finished the run, but I was like, nah, I'm not running no.
So that's who started it. I mean, it all started with KJ.
It all started.
That generation.
They
That-
boycotted. I thought they were going to sit crisscross applesauce over the sideline. Said, no.
Well, yeah, it's crazy.
Word.
It's crazy. So what game are you looking forward to the most this season?
I mean, yeah, I want to get started. I mean, I'm excited to get started. We got a scrimmage in mid October. We got a charity exhibition game versus George Mason, but I can't wait to just get in front of everybody, get the Coliseum packed, and Pitt at home is going to be huge. Who doesn't want to? I don't want to let our fans down by any means. I want to put the best product out there and send them home packing with a loss. And K-State, my alma mater, coming to Morgantown, that's going to be special for me, obviously. And so, those games, you see them on the schedule, but, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I'm just really excited to get in the Coliseum and show off our work and where we're at. So hopefully it goes well and you guys don't throw a for sale sign in my yard and get me out of town.
Well, my
J Flow, you still selling real estate? I mean, I don't want to see your J Flow,
My wife
Herms
is.
housing, whatever it may be.
John
like,
just starts
sign in
walking
my
down
yard.
the sideline during a game, just hands you a card and be like, "Yeah, here it goes." Talk to my wife.
My wife's a real estate agent, so you know who to call if it gets next.
Yeah, there you go.
Nah, we don't want you to leave Morgantown, regardless. You know what I mean? But it's gonna be crazy. We're in a real transition period right now with the team, with WVU athletics in general. So we're rooting
We're
for
in
you.
this together, man. Like we talked about family earlier. You guys are family, and all the former guys that ever poured the blood, sweat, and tears for this program. You guys are family, and we're all in this together. We're trying to move this program forward.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead, Kate.
No, I was going to ask. So we haven't talked about we talked a little bit about the coaching staff, but Deshaun Butler, Jordan McCabe, Alex Ruoff, DeMar Johnson, all former players. DeMar didn't play at West Virginia, but he played at Cincinnati under Hugs. So, like, how much more comfortable is it that you have these, like, you got like an all-star team of young, hungry assistant coaches that, like, when I was there, the workouts that they was doing, I was like, yo, we wasn't doing this like when we was
Right.
when we was working out before. So you got the top of the top right now. So, like, how much more comfortable has that made your job, knowing that you got people that know what they're talking about, who played the game, and they ultimately have like your best interest. They want to see you win.
Yeah, I mean, that's been huge for me. I realized I can't do this alone. I mean, I need to surround myself with great people and young, energetic people. That was first and foremost. And whether it be, you said DJ didn't play here, but the other three have, and they played at a high level here, and this place means something to them. You can go somewhere else and they look at it as a job. These guys look at it like every day. I'm bringing everything I got because they got skin in the game. There's equity here. They can build an equity stake in this program and what we're doing, and so they're pumped. They're excited. They bring the energy every day, and that was kind of my main goal. One, to find high character guys that care and aren't going to do the wrong thing off the court. But guys that want to come in here and work and bring the enthusiasm, the excitement, and players feel that. You mentioned it earlier. Players feel that when we're walking out there excited and ready to go, and you could feel like the staff might lace it up today and even go at them. I mean, we have one of the youngest staffs in the country at the Power 5 level. I would assume might be the youngest staff. So I don't see that as a negative. I see it as completely a positive.
Gotta ask, how's Raekwon battle gonna look? I mean, is it promising, or you never know?
I think it's we have a very promising case on it. I mean, it's in my mind, if you knew all the details and NCAA really dug into his story, it'd be like rubber stamp, done, next waiver. But I worry about what's going on at North Carolina and that football waiver that's making all the news, and whether they're going to dig in or they're going to calm down a little bit with some of this and say, okay, this is about the student athlete. Let's realize that the problem being is they let all these waivers and they rubber stamped them for a couple years, and then they tried to put the cat back in the bag. Meanwhile, the players and the student athletes were like, yeah, I want a better situation for myself. So they're bailing on a second transfer, and now they're trying to hold those guys back. So who are you hurting? You're hurting the student athlete, and all they're trying to do is better their situation and better their livelihood.
That's what I was gonna ask. Who does who does the responsibility to onus fall on to get somebody cleared? Is that WVU? Is that Raekwon's old school? Like, whose responsibility is that to get that?
It's been a team effort around here trying to gather all the information and all the documentation. I think in the NCAA, it's all about documentation. You can put forth a whatever summary of his life and his situation, but if you don't have the documentation, especially with the mental health waivers, you're probably not going to get it. But his story is unique, and I hope you guys really dig into his story because, being the first ever, he was the only Native American to play the NCAA tournament last year. He was the first from Tulalip tribe in Washington. He's the first one to ever play Division I basketball. And that's another trip I made to Washington to spend a day with him and his family, and he is a complete inspiration to everybody on that reservation. Every little kid is running to his arms and just gravitating towards him like a complete hero, which he is a complete hero to those people. So he has a lot of pressure on him to succeed, and he's got a lot of people following him, and it's a special story if you really want to dig into it, and that's his story, and I hope he opens up and tells it.
So I got y'all winning 22 games, Josh. I mean, not to add to your pressure.
22.
I know pressure from J Flow is a lot, but
22 is a lot. 22 is a lot of
Is that
games.
22 going into the selection Sunday, or 22 overall?
overall. So that's Sweet 16, right? At least.
How many games you got them winning regular season, like before Big
20.
12 tournament?
At least 20.
Okay.
You got 30. You got 31 games before the Big 12 tournament.
So 20 and 11? I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at 20 and 11 going to the Big 12 tournament. What was your goal to make the schedule? I don't think I seen like who all you guys have, but like what was the goal? Because I know Hugs always have like a top 10 RPI and all that. So were you like, yo, we playing whoever, or you wanted to kind of?
Well, I mean, you got to understand these schedules are done far in advance.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. So it was already.
Last 5 years, our schedules have been done. The first schedule done and released out of anybody in the country.
Right.
So we worked with I was, as an ops guy, I was working for Hugs behind the scenes, making sure I'm grinding on those net rankings. I'm grinding on doing it strategic to where we put ourselves in a very good position to where we're not playing really high net teams that are going to drag us down, but also playing games that we can win, and we're not going to put ourselves in a bad position. So I didn't do this schedule. You're going to have to give some credit to Trent Michaels on this. But this was in place prior to, me, taking over the job.
Got you.
So
You got D Nice on this. You got Darius Nichols on the schedule.
Yeah, we got Darius Nichols on the schedule.
Nice.
I see that.
No, but what if I probably would have done more buy games, more guarantee games, and give myself more of a position to, build up and be successful and rack up some wins. That's probably the approach I would have taken. But it is a tough schedule. We got 3 bye games, then we go to Fort Myers, and we play SMU, and then either Virginia or Wisconsin, and then a couple of days later, or whatever, we got St. John's coming in here, we got Pitt coming in here, and we go to Springfield and play UMass, and then the Big 12, Ohio State, they're in Cleveland before we go to the Big 12 play, and I got first look at the Big 12 schedule, which it hasn't been released yet, and it's going to be a bear. It always is. And the first thing you look at is the rest days, advantage in terms of rest, because we do so much traveling, and if a team has one more day of rest going into a competition, then they're usually going to have an advantage.
Yeah.
And from what I've grinded on, we have 4 disadvantages and 3 advantages. There's teams that have 5 to 1, and you can probably guess who that is.
It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be a wild ride.
Can you guess, KJ?
No, I don't know. Who?
It's the Kansas Jayhawks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
And it's mainly because those guys play on Big Monday so much, and the Big 12 week off when you can play Saturday, Monday, and then you have basically Tuesday and Wednesday to regroup, and you can still have Thursday and Friday to prepare for your Saturday opponent. It's quite an advantage.
So we still haven't won in that place, huh?
And we're not going there this year.
Oh, we're not. Oh, okay.
No, they got to come here.
That would have been a big
They haven't really
opportunity.
won here either, though. So
They have it.
that's good. No, not really.
Josh could have been the first coach to win in there. I mean, he still can. I mean, but
We
first
won
year,
as a
first
GA there at K-State. We beat them in Allen Fieldhouse January 14th, 2006, 59-54. So you remember when you win in Allen Fieldhouse.
It was 18 years ago. 17 years ago. Jeez. Damn.
That's crazy. I don't think it's that bad. I mean, I think our team would have won in there and got it.
Yeah, we did definitely. A last second Deshaun Butler 3.
Or a last second.
What was there, seven game winners that year for the Butler?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
What has he been? How's he been doing on the?
He's
the
been
side?
awesome. He's been absolutely fantastic. He's been by my side through everything, and we bounce ideas off each other every day in terms of the offense, and I'm gonna lean on him a lot on the floor because he is so good, and it was special, man. I remember the phone call like it was yesterday. I'm like, man, I'm gonna make this call, and I really hope he's all in. He was with the New York Knicks and settled in pretty good there, but I was like, I really hope he wants to come back because I want him by my side, and it was a no-brainer from my perspective to make that call, and thankfully, like, he couldn't get here fast enough, and he had belief in me, and vice versa. So it's been a great combination between the two of us so far.
That was probably the smartest move you made in the off season. So.
Is that right?
And then Jordan McCabe, how'd that come about?
Well, Jordan was coming to work for us anyway.
Right.
I think there was a little bit of confusion as to what position he would have been in, but throughout the whole interview process, I told Ren, I said, nobody deserves to be in a spot to where, they're out on the streets with, whether it be people that are already here with 8-9 days on their contract, or somebody that was coming in and moved here from, which Jordan did, from across the country to be part of the program in some form or fashion. I said, nobody deserves to be in this position. And I said, all these guys, have a lot of value, and I can work with them all. And Jordan had a great relationship with, and was part of bringing them in anyway. Right. And I was like, let's do this. And he's going to be great from a recruiting standpoint, just because he's just got such a following. Yeah. And I tell people all the time, he went with my son to Memphis to the basketball academy. So 400 of the best players in the country went to Memphis for this college basketball academy. And he was chauffeuring my son, but also recruiting. And my son came back and he said, Dad, everybody, all these kids that I'm around all day long, they keep asking me, like, why am I with Jordan McCabe? They all knew who he was. So, I mean, he's got that presence out there.
Right. He's also a very likable person. Like, you get to know him very, has a lot of manners, very nice to everybody that he comes in contact with. So that goes a long way as well.
And there's a reason he's got that type of following. It's because of the person he is, and he's authentic, he's genuine. He understands his place, and he goes about things the right way, and it's a testament to him and where he's at in his life right now and how it's happened so quick for him.
So what do you say to people that say he's not qualified or hasn't put in enough time as a coach? I'm just asking the question, like, because there are people that's like, okay, how did he? Because he doesn't have any prior coaching experience, so it's like, what do you say to those people?
I mean, he understands that. I understand that. I argued for years, even when you guys were around, and I'm sitting here trying to work up the ladder, and all I was waiting for is somebody to believe in me. Mm-hmm. I felt like I had the capability, but you fall into this whole rabbit hole of, like, in the business, it's like you have to do this, that, the other before you can get there. Right. Well, I don't believe in that, and you got to be. The biggest knock on me is he's never had any recruiting experience. Well, what is recruiting experience? I mean, you go out and you make relationships, you develop relationships, and if you do it the right way and you make good, authentic, genuine relationships, it's going to be to your benefit. Just because it hadn't been on the road doesn't mean I can't go do it and be successful at it. And that's the way I looked at it, and I always remember that. I mean, I'm going to put people in a position that I think they can succeed, and I knew right off the bat that he'd be good at what he's doing, and he's knocked it out of the park so far.
So will y'all have like a back bench, or like how is that going to work?
That is something, it's come to mind a couple of times. We have a lot of staff members, and the Big 12 only gives you 20 seats. Mm-hmm. And we always had kind of 21 because Hug sat on the stool. So we kind of got away with an extra seat almost everywhere we went. There's certain places you're not going to allow to have any back bench, but it'll be quite the task of managing who's where on the bench.
Who's going on the trip and who's not going on the trip. That's going to be wild. Something else you got.
There's plenty of seats on the plane. There's just not plenty of seats on the bench.
That's going to be wild. Any thoughts on that as far as who's on the back bench, who's on the front?
We'll figure it out.
Got you.
Yeah, he's going to announce that to us instead of the coaches. They have to find
Breaking
out
news.
Deshaun Butler on the back.
I think he's going to be front and center. I don't think you have to worry about Deshaun.
Yeah, I mean, that's just stuff you got to do. I mean, I was wondering.
Last question for me. Y'all talked about it earlier, like expectations and everything, and like, what is your example of having a good season? Like, what is your vision of like what a
Your
good season will be?
expectations
Yeah,
for the
expectation of what a good season will be for you.
Good question.
I think it's for me, like personally, it's NCAA tournament or bust first and foremost. We got to make the NCAA tournament, and you guys have lived it. So once you get there, you kind of got new life. So first and foremost, our goal is to make the NCAA tournament. If you're not in the NCAA tournament, you can't have all these lofty goals of winning a national championship or getting to the Final Four. So we've tracked it over the years, and we'll continue to track it. Like, how are we getting there? What is our path to get into the NCAA tournament? And given everything we've done this off season and how we try to manage it all, and there's a lot of things looming over our head in terms of whether Raekwon's going to be eligible and some other things that are kind of in the hopper that we're concerned about, what our roster's going to look like and how we're going to have to manage it. But yes, that's the expectation. We get to the NCAA tournament, and the better we play and the better job we do to get in there is the better seed you're going to have and the better path you're going to have to be successful in the NCAA tournament. But for me, I mean, it's a complete failure on my part if we don't get to the NCAA tournament.
Gotcha. So
I like
no certain numbers that you like 20 wins. It's like, okay.
I don't think of it like that. I just think of, on short-term goals, like how are we going to win the day? Right now we're so far behind probably a lot of other teams that probably all traveled foreign tours and got their 5-6 games in and they felt each other out. I mean, we're in a time frame that a lot of people are all doing individual work. We're like having real practices and putting in offense and playing against each other and trying to feed off each other and learn from each other to figure out how we can build that chemistry. Because we are kind of behind in that regard, because some of our last pieces have showed up in the last week or so.
I think the chemistry is a big part. I think, like, when I see the guys are always together, like when I see them around town, like they're together, and it kind of reminds me of the Final Four team. Like, I was that guy, KJ, come on over, I got some girls for you, some drink, come hang out, whatever you want. Just keeping the guys together. But yeah, so I mean, I think the chemistry is getting there. That's the challenging part because you got all new players from all different places. So I think that's the challenging part.
Now, if I can just get through a practice where I don't have an Edward Jones employee walking across the middle of practice.
I didn't even know that was a practice. It didn't look like they was just shooting free throws.
Yeah, we have a 5-minute break between mid practice where everybody shoots free throws and gets a drink, and then here comes John Flowers. Waltzing right across the middle of the floor.
I was like, y'all. I asked her, I was like, are y'all practicing today? He's like, we're in it right now.
Yeah, you're in the middle of it.
I was like, oh shit, my bad. But
all about family and bringing our guys back. But he just crossed the line. One day he's doing all the tramp, the next day he's walking right across the practice floor in the middle of practice.
But Josh, that's what I didn't like before. Like if there was a problem, what I mean, no one ever came to us and just said like, yo, don't do this. It was always someone told somebody and then it got back. So if you ever have a problem,
I'll be upfront. I can be blunt. I have no problem being blunt.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Bet.
So, Coach, I got one thing for you. What do you say to the fans that are kind of unsure about the new season or don't really know what to expect because, like we said, everything's new? What would you tell them about why they should be excited about the season and all that? And then why are the fans so important to be there for the success of the team through the season?
No, I'd just say give us a chance. Show up, give us a chance, and I think we're going to prove you wrong if you have any doubt. I think we're going to, put our best foot forward, and we're going to represent this state and this university at a very high level. There's going to be doubters and there's going to be critics, and I understand that. And there's so much outside noise, and we're just going to keep moving forward. and yes, they are important. Everybody that's sitting in that Coliseum is important to our success. Everybody, you guys have lived it. The difference between playing in an arena with 7,000 or 8,000 compared to 14,000 is, and your energy level is night and day. And so the more we can pack that Coliseum and have that support and feel that support, I think our guys are going to thrive on it. And so, I just hope everybody, if you have doubts, then give us a chance. Give us a chance to prove you wrong. Come out and support us. And if at the end of the year, if I'm not the guy, then, John will put a for sale sign in my yard and we'll move on.
Yeah, just like when all the news broke down, I was happy to see that they put someone in the head coaching seat that knows what West Virginia is about. And one thing I can say about Josh is Josh knows what the state of West Virginia is about. It's blue-collar working people, and he knows that the team is going to mirror that. You know what I mean? So I know he's going to have a good representation of West Virginia out there. And, just have some patience, man. Don't let it be one game like Kevin Jones and Ashley and try to replace the quarterback.
We're gonna talk about that another time, though.
Yeah, how do you like the quarterback now, KJ? Is he good or?
I don't know. I don't know if he's good. He scored 4 touchdowns against Duquesne. I don't know if he's good. I don't know. I was trying to tell John, I'm like, okay, if you beat up on somebody, cool. That's like having like 50 points against freaking whoever, Norfolk State, and then against Kansas you only have 5. So how can I judge like how good you are if it's like, you know what I mean? Like you don't show up against the good teams. Like, was anybody expecting to lose to Duquesne?
All I'm saying is just give it more than one game.
All I'm saying is that I can admit he had a great game. Like he played a great game, but at the same time, it's like that. Just okay. So you told me not to go off one game. You don't go off one game either. Don't go just because he had a great game against Duquesne. Don't go. Oh, now all of a sudden he's a great quarterback?
Give us some time. That's all I said. Just give us some time.
Let's move on
Okay,
a little bit
we'll
and
move on.
let Coach go because we're
Good.
about an hour into this now.
That's
The voice of reason, Dave.
I try, man. And then John goes, "Oh, David interrupted me," but I'm the one that looks after everybody's time.
Well, KJ's got to go to bed.
I do.
I got to go to work.
Beauty sleep.
So, Josh, appreciate you coming on. Good luck this season. We got your back. Y'all having Midnight Madness?
I'm not sure what the marketing's got in store. The Midnight Madness, those things kind of went away. I'd certainly like to change things up, but I think the what we've done in the past is kind of run its course. But hopefully we can get some fresh new ideas and do some other things to get out there in the community and get in front of our people.
You don't like midnight? Not midnight. I mean, it doesn't have to be at midnight, but
what we've done in the past is the Gold and Blue debut.
Dunk contest. You got some springy guys on the team this year, I think.
Yeah.
Why did he go away with the dunk contest? What happened?
Well, we all know why the dunk contest didn't work very well. You guys practiced for 3 hours.
I won one, so that shows the quality of the dunk contest.
Yeah. we got watered down real fast after that.
We had Joe Alexander, Devin Eubanks, but KJ, you got something?
Nah, man. Just like John said, we wishing you all the best of luck, man. Couldn't happen to a better guy. I think you're the right person. John wanted Beeline, but I campaigned for you, so I was like, nah, Josh is the guy. But then John was like, nah, Beeline's the guy. I'm telling you. I was like, nah, Josh, they gotta go with Josh. So I'm glad I had my way, my choice. And I know you're going to do a great job, man. And, I'm definitely going to be supporting from over in Japan.
Very good. Thank you, man. And wish you nothing but the best over there in Japan. And look forward to watching your progress and do big things and make us proud.
Appreciate
it. We'll do the same.
But this has been another episode of Final Forecast with me, your host, Jay Flo. I got Kevin Jones with me.
Yup.
Shout out to Josh. Appreciate you coming on, man. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. You guys are always family and always welcome as long as you don't take the shrimp or walk across the practice.
Walking on eggshells. And Dave.